Right now, we have a way that we can cure AIDS, cancer, or almost any other disease. All of us in this room are a mix up of our parents' genes, and we all have certain things that we wish we either would or wouldn't have inherited, like your height or eye colors or something more serious like type 1 diabetes. There are many different pros and cons to genetic engineering. First, I'm going to go over the background of genetic engineering. Then I will talk about some of the pros, and I'll go over some of the cons. So starting with the background. We've been genetically modifying things for thousands of years with something called selective breeding, where we just select what traits we want, and then we can just breed certain things for them. Using this from one single plant, just breeding for different parts, we could get Brussels sprouts, asparagus, spinach, and broccoli, all from the same plant, just bred for different parts of the plant. But now, more recently, instead of having to do this over many generations and thousands of years, they developed a technology called CRISPR, which Jennifer Kuzma, a professor in social sciences and co-director of genetic engineering and society center at North Carolina State University, states that basically just uses a pair of molecular scissors that can go into your DNA, cut out certain pieces of it, and then put in different genes. And then, which would make it a lot easier to edit your genes. Then Eric Jenks, a UNC professor of social medicine and genetics, in the Hastings Center report published in 2017, described the human genome as a natural resource, which the definition of a natural resource is something that comes from nature and can be used for an economic gain, which would definitely apply to this if they can figure out how to use it safely and effectively. It'd become a huge market almost overnight. Now that I talked about some of the background, I'll describe some of the benefits. One big benefit would be obviously to cure diseases almost easily, especially genetic ones. You could just go into the DNA, cut out that bad gene, put in a good one, and you wouldn't be able to pass it down through your family anymore. We'd also be able to make faster, stronger, and smarter people just by giving them more athletic and more smart genes. And if your parents are both talented in something, it doesn't necessarily mean that you will be too, but if you give them the right genes to be more athletic or good at music or something like that, you could guarantee that's what your kid is good at. And just in a few generations of having smarter engineers and more strong and resilient workers, we'd be able to completely change society. And that all sounds great, but there are also a few downsides. One big one would be money. Not necessarily the money to develop it, but the money that it would cost to be able to modify people. It would be relatively cheap to how much it costs now, but it would still probably just be for the higher class people, which they'd be able to make what are called like designer babies, where they can choose how they look and what they're good at, and they could basically be better than everyone else just because they can pay for it. And then Shauna Benston, Assistant Director for Research Compliance Education at Columbia University, in her dissertation published in the Columbia University Academic Commons, described something called the right to disability, where for many recent years we've been talking about getting rid of stigmas around mental disabilities and stuff like that, but as soon as we can get rid of them, like by curing them, we just get rid of them and get rid of all that stuff saying that it's okay to not be okay. And then like any other new and unknown technology, there could also be side effects, and if it's passed down genetically, it could take many generations, 50 to maybe over 100 years, to realize those side effects, and by then it could be too late. So first, I described the background of genetic engineering, then went over some of the pros, and finally I talked about some of the cons. There are many different pros and cons to genetic engineering. We could live in a society free of disease.
Or